Hey, everybody, welcome to Talk Fort Dodge. This week, it's Jeremiah and I alone talking about inspections. Now, we do this because it's an important part of buying a home. And Jeremiah, tell us about inspections.
Well, this is how we look at inspections from our office, I believe. And Todd, you add whenever you want to jump in or whatever, but this is how I tell my clients because here's the deal. When you come to inspections, first of all, inspections come right after you make an offer and you get it accepted. So you get that, and we make it contingent upon inspections and financing. But that's for a whole nother topic. But now we do inspections, and you have to remember there's no right or wrong way to do inspections. And you'll have some people say, oh, you have to have this inspector, you have to do this, you have to do that. You don't have to do anything. As a realtor, we want you to get a professional inspection done, and we have a list of them at the office. But the reason there's so many different types of inspections and different people that do them is because there's so many different types of houses and people buying the houses. You could be, our broker, Jim Kesterson, constantly says, these hands aren't for fixing, So he's one of those that would probably want to get a really nice inspection and make sure he knows of anything that may or may not be a problem. But then you have somebody who is a contractor, or I've heard young kids that are 25 years old that their dad is a contractor, their uncle is a plumber, their aunt is an electrician. You go all the way down the line and they walk through the house and they see nothing that scares them. And so for them, an inspection might be very minor or minute, okay? So here's the three types of inspections, in my opinion. We have one inspector that charges about a flat fee of about $200,000, $200, and that's like an 11 to 13 page report. And he really focuses on the major safety issues. He gets up and he looks at the roof, he looks at the foundation, he checks out the AC and the furnace, and he notes everything that he sees. And for the most part, he'll find anything and everything that's wrong with the house, but it's not like an detailed report. Now, that could be perfect for a lot of people. In fact, I would say 60% of people, that is probably what they prefer. Now we have the other type of inspection that we have a number of guys in Fort Dodge that do, and this is a report that can go anywhere from 50 to 100 pages. And they take pictures of every single crack and nanny in the house. They take pictures of underneath every single sink. They go above and beyond. And that is a very good report that can cost anywhere from $350 to $500. I believe they base it mostly off of square footage. And so they go through and they just note absolutely anything and everything that could be wrong with the house, or something to look forward to in the future.
Yep.
That's really important if that is a type of report that you want. Okay, there's a third kind. Now the first two is most likely what Todd, you and I would recommend to people, whichever one fits your needs.
Yep.
The third one is almost how I purchase a home. Is after going through and looking at the house, it's like, oh, I like it. Now I have a friend who's a contractor. I want him or her to go through the house with me, and I trust them. Okay. And that contractor is a darn good contractor. I think a good contractor has a 101 in just about everything, And so if they see something wrong with the electrical box, they'll tell me, and then I call an electrician, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually that's free if you have a friend that can do that. They're not going to have you sign any papers or charge you anything for it, because then they're liable too, if they do something like that. But that is a good source if you have that. Some people just have their parents inspect it that are electricians or plumbers or whatever. And I think at the end of the day, when it comes to inspections, for my clients, it is whatever you feel the most comfortable with. And I never want my clients to regret that they would have picked something different.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
and you know, I just recently had a client that was an accountant. An accountant and engineers are very similar, you know, and I knew the second I started giving the spiel about inspections that he was going to pick the detailed one because that's what, you know, that's the mind frame,
everything about it. Yeah.
you know, and that doesn't mean that just because you're getting a detailed inspection means that you're trying to nitpick and you're trying to come back with everything. It literally just means that you want to see everything that's going, everything that there is with a used home. And a lot of times people look at it as this is a honey to-do list for the next 2 years.
Right. Yeah. No, you're exactly right. So I have clients, and we talked about this the other day. So you have a client purchasing an investment property, and they have a good friend that's a contractor. So you're like, hey, Bob, let's come look at this house with me. I want to see if you see any major issues, and you go through the house. You're buying. Let's do that again. Let's say you're buying an investment property, and you don't have a good friend of the contractor. So you're like, you know what? It's going to be $200. Let's go through, get the tough stuff. But then I have the next buyer who is brand new. It's their first home. They're a little bit nervous because, buying a home is a big deal. You know what? Let's send the $400 guy in, and let's get a handbook for your house that says this is every picture. This is what the attic looked like. This is a drone of the roof and what it all looks like and what everything is. And it makes so much sense. It depends on your level of comfort on A, the inspector or contractor, and B, what you know how to fix and what you don't, and where you're going to end up with it, where you're going to end up at the end of the day. So,
and with that is like when you hire these inspectors, they do have a one-on-one and everything, and they know their stuff, and all of them probably specialize in one way better than the other or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But what I want to tell my clients is none of the, well, I shouldn't say none, but they are not plumbers. They are not electricians, roofers, foundation guys or girls. And I say that because if they note something, the purpose of the inspection is to find red flags, and if it comes back and says there's double tapping on the electrical box and we think the service needs to be changed. Well, I don't like it when they say the service needs to be changed because they're not an electrician.
Right. But let's have a look at it.
But what we do need to do is I always ask my client, do you have an electrician that's close to you, or do you work with somebody? Yep. And if they don't, I work with a number of different electricians. I'll call one of them and say, hey, can you go look at this? And then you have to take what they say, like, oh, there is double tapping going on and it's going to be $300 to fix it. But right. I don't have to replace the whole box because of X, Y, and Z. I'm just talking out of my yay.
Well, you want that person that understands it, knows what code is, and knows what's going on. So the inspector is a great resource to say, what, something doesn't look right, but the electrician or the foundation guy or the plumber, they're the ones that are going to go in and say, you know what, yeah, it is this, but you got another 10 years before it's going to be an issue. You know what, yeah, there's double tapping on the thing, but we can add another breaker down here. It costs $100, and hey, I'm already here. You want me to do it? So that all ties into exactly what you're saying. But it is important to be comfortable with your purchase and be comfortable with what it is at the end of the day. And that's what both of us are going to preach is, where are you going to be comfortable and how do you want this to look at the end of the day? And it depends if it's your first house, if it's your 10th house, if it's whatever it is, that's a personal decision, but we'll work with it, work through that decision with you to make the best decision possible.
Yes. You got to be comfortable with it. And if you're comfortable with it, that's what we do. You move forward then.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in for this week's Talk Fort Dodge with Todd and Jeremiah, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.